Hercules had faced monsters, gods, and challenges that had tested his strength and courage beyond human limits. But nothing had prepared him for the dark, twisting reality that lay ahead as he stepped into the haunted world, a realm where shadows moved with malevolent intent and whispers of the dead clung to every stone. The moment his foot crossed the eerie threshold, a chill unlike any winter wind wrapped around him, seeping into his bones as the ground beneath his feet seemed to pulse with a heartbeat that was not his own, and the air carried the scent of decay mixed with a faint, inexplicable sweetness, like rotten flowers blooming in a moonlight, and from the corners of his vision, shapes flickered, neither fully there nor fully gone, dragging his mind into a spiral of unease. Yet Hercules pressed forward, guided by the distant glow of a lantern suspended in the center of what appeared to be a ruined village, where skeletal remains of buildings leaned at impossible angles, as if the world itself had been twisted by some cosmic cruelty. A woman appeared before him, not quite human, her eyes glinting with the cold fire of an ancient curse, her dress torn but shimmering faintly with the remnants of some lost royalty, and she spoke in a voice that echoed in multiple directions at once. Hercules, the path you tread is not merely of flesh and bone, but of the soul itself, and only by confronting the horrors within can you hope to escape. And though he had faced Cerberus, the Hydra, and countless titans, an unfamiliar dread gripped him as he stepped into the shadowed alleyways where walls seemed to breathe and the ground would occasionally open into chasms filled with screaming faces. He swung his club at the apparitions, some of which dissipated in a black mist while others shrieked and lunged from the walls, and he realized that brute strength alone would not suffice, for the haunted world fed on fear and despair, each shadow born from the memories of those who had perished before. And as he delved deeper, he encountered twisted versions of figures from his past, friends turned to specters, challengers long defeated, now pleading or threatening in voices that rang with familiarity, testing not only his might, but his resolve, his morality, and the very essence of his heroism. At the heart of this realm lay the haunted citadel, a fortress of impossible angles, where the sky was a shifting canvas of molten darkness and ghostly constellations, and atop its highest tower floated the Witch Queen of the Dead, a being of terrifying beauty and intellect, commanding the phantoms of the damned, and she offered Hercules a cruel bargain. Surrender your heroic spirit and join the ranks of the eternal dead, or fight to the end and risk losing even your name to oblivion. Hercules, remembering the lives he had saved, the innocence he had protected, and the gods' own gifts of strength and cunning, steeled himself against the oppressive despair and surged forward, battling through endless corridors where every door opened into nightmares, confronting illusions that mirrored his deepest fears, his failure, the loss of loved ones, the possibility that his strength could vanish when most needed. And yet, with every strike of his club and every strategic maneuver, he began unraveling the enchantments that held the haunted world together, discovering that courage, hope, and resilience were as potent as any divine weapon. After a climactic confrontation, where the Witch Queen unleashed the full force of spectral armies, shaping shadows into titanic beasts and flinging them with rage born of centuries, Hercules fought with a mixture of brute force, cunning, and sheer willpower, striking at her core, shattering her illusion of invincibility. And as her screams echoed through the citadel, the phantoms dissolved into light, the twisted architecture softened into reality, and the haunted world itself seemed to exhale, releasing Hercules back into the realm of the living, wounded yet triumphant, his legend now etched not only in mortal memory, but in the very fabric of dimensions, proving that even in worlds steeped in darkness and despair, the light of courage, perseverance, and heroism could prevail, leaving behind the whispering remnants of shadows as silent witnesses to the might and heart of Hercules.